melhora instantânea no desempenho. O Merlin fornecia mais potência a 7.600 metros do que o Allison na decolagem. E fazia isso com a metade do combustível consumido pelo motor do Thunderbolt. As forças aéreas britânica e americana ficaram impressionadas. Elas encomendaram inúmeros Mustangs. Ficou decidido que o Packard Merlin americano seria um motor padrão para toda a produção.
I don't think the Americans would have had that sort of fighter if we hadn't tactfully got in the Merlin.
I think it's one of the greatest examples of cooperation between two countries in trouble. I think it shows that all those brilliant minds could actually get together and work together without jealousies.
As últimas peças do Mustang se encaixaram quando o P-51D foi introduzido em maio de 1944. O novo modelo tinha um design diferente, com fuselagem traseira mais baixa e uma capota de plástico transparente, fornecendo um campo de visão irrestrito, enquanto criava um perfil totalmente novo. O Mustang era um puro sangue, o campeão do estábulo aliado.
Even on the ground, with its wheels down, it looked like it was going forward. It was beautifully streamlined. It had all the right contours, I guess. It looked like a fighter plane should look.
And it has a sound all of its own. There's no sound for like the P-51.
The Mustang is the pilot's airplane. You have to understand that. You climb into that plane, and that airplane becomes a part of you.
It responded so well to the controls, it just felt good to fly it. We used to say, if you wanted to turn left, you roll your eyeballs left, and that was about all you needed.
You were a part of the plane. It was as if you were a bird. It flew beautifully. It responded perfectly. It flew with power and grace, and it was gorgeous to be in that plane and flying.
I really think it was a love affair between a young pilot and his airplane. We felt that we were capable of doing anything we wanted to do in the airplane. The enemy was defeated in our mind when we crawled into the cockpit.
Eles haviam recebido o caça mais potente do arsenal aliado. Ele tinha o melhor motor disponível. As 6 metralhadoras, 3 em cada asa, disparavam um total de 1.880 cargas. Ele carregava mais de 1.800 litros de combustível com 2 tanques descartáveis sob as asas e podia voar mais de 3.200 quilômetros.
To have been given an airplane like this, a P-51 Mustang fighter, as my own, I felt terrific.
Finalmente, os bombardeiros americanos tinham a proteção de que precisavam. Um caça de alto desempenho para escoltá-los no caminho de ida e volta até Berlim. Foi uma reviravolta na guerra.
Estamos the Mustang, the P-51, the longest range fighter in the world. Speed, fast climb, quick dive, tight turns. Into these great fighters, America poured its genius, its millions of man-hours of labor, its faith in victory against the Luftwaffe. And in their single cockpits, it placed these men.
I didn't have the faintest idea what the hell was going on. I knew why we were fighting, but I didn't know how. The first time I really realized that I was in combat was I saw my wingman shot up and going down. And I had never seen the enemy aircraft that did it. I know at the time I thought to myself, what the hell am I doing here? I'm way out of my league.
Se quisessem sobreviver em combate, os jovens pilotos tinham que aprender, e rápido.
You still can feel your heart pounding pretty fast. And, yeah, there's some fear the first mission or two that, how's this really going to go?
I was scared to death, and I'll tell you, anybody that says they weren't scared to death is a liar.
I was new and nervous, and with the gyrations of the plane, I started to, I had to throw up. And when I got back to Steeple Morden, landed, oh, I felt terrible. I felt maybe I didn't have what it takes. Felt humiliated. Came up to the hard stand, and the crew chief climbs on the wing, and the canopy goes back. And I saw him look, and I told him, I'm terribly sorry. I'm terribly sorry. I'll help you clean it up. And he said, look, I've seen worse. And I felt wonderful. It meant there were others too. It wasn't just me. But those 3 words were a psychological turning point for me. And I never threw up again. I felt I could do it.
Cada piloto dependia de seu chefe de tripulação. Ele liderava a tripulação em terra que mantinha e armava o caça. Eles se dedicavam ao bem-estar dos pilotos, contanto que eles cuidassem da aeronave tão bem quanto os chefes de tripulação.
The crew chiefs felt it was their plane. The plane was charged out to the crew chief, not to the pilot. And he took care of that thing as if it was a little baby. Right. He did everything but put a diaper on it.
I'm still fighting with my old crew chief for 55 years as to who owned my airplane. You talk to a crew chief, he owned it. You talk to a pilot, the pilot owned it. He says he owned it, and you only fly because I let you.
When the airplane is on the ground, it belongs to the crew chief. It's his airplane. And it's almost like a father with his daughter. And you come as a high school kid, and you're going to take his daughter out, you know. So he looks you over, and he checks you out and everything, and you're very careful. You bring my daughter back, and it's the same thing with the airplane. But when you climb into that airplane, and the crew chief and the assistant crew chief buckle you in, they snap on your harness, and the umbilical cord is tied, it's no longer his airplane, it's my bird. It was my girlfriend, it was my baby.
Os pilotos de Mustangs gostavam de personalizar suas aeronaves. A maioria era batizada com o nome das esposas ou namoradas.
At that time, Walt Disney's motion picture Dumbo had come out, and in Dumbo there was a song that the mother sings to Dumbo, "Baby mine, don't you cry," so forth. And that song used to go through my head when I was flying. So I said, that's a perfect name. So I called it Baby Mine. Then whenever I went out with a girl, they'd say, what'd you name your plane? I said, I named it after you, Baby Mine. And it worked.
Dia após dia, imensas formações de bombardeiros e caças da 8ª Força Aérea Americana decolavam rumo ao espaço aéreo alemão. Partiam de dezenas de campos de pousos no sudeste da Inglaterra.
We were sort of like a flying gun platform in a flying gas tank. That's what you were. Because every inch of that plane practically was loaded with gas and ammunition.
Quando as tripulações saíam da paz da zona rural inglesa com suas campinas e chalés para o horror da moderna tática de guerra aérea, elas compartilhavam uma vida estranha e instável. Como gladiadores romanos, eles podiam comemorar uma vitória um dia e lamentar a morte de um colega no outro. A única certeza era que cada missão poderia ser a última.
I always knew I was coming back. It's always the old story if there's 100 fighter pilots in a room and the old man said, this mission is so dangerous, only one of you is coming back. You'll look at all the others and say, you poor fellas. A fellow in my barracks had a chessboard, and he and I ran an ongoing chess game at all times. And we often said, well, this is to guarantee that both of us are coming back because we want to see who wins this chess game.
And it's so random. You don't know where it's going to happen. Or to whom.
We would really feel bad if we lost some of our people. And we'd often wonder what has happened to them, what happened. And in the debriefing, no one would really know. They just didn't come back, or someone would see them bailing out, or someone would see them going into the ground. But we never really knew what happened after that. He was there today, he was there yesterday, and he won't be there tomorrow.
Este era o mundo carregado das unidades Mustang que os pilotos alemães aprenderam a respeitar. Eles eram corajosos em combate. E muitos pilotos haviam conseguido os 5 acertos necessários para entrar no grupo de elite dos ases dos caças.
Being a fighter pilot in combat is always a matter of goals. You want to destroy your first enemy airplane. So once you've destroyed the first, then you become greedy. You want 4 more so you can become an ace. Then you become greedier yet because now you want to destroy more than anybody else in the group. It's just a matter of wanting more all the time.
When that P-51 engine turns over and each of the cylinders hit with one explosion after the other and a roar, you don't hear the noise, you feel it in your stomach, in your gut.
You're strapped in tight, you roll up the canopy, you push the throttle forward, and you go.
There were several mornings when we were escorting and the sun was just coming up. It looked like a silver road in the sky with those bombers. It was an amazing sight, one that I'll never forget.
A 1,000 bomber mission meant that there were 700 fighters escorting the 1,000 bombers. There were 10 men in each bomber, so that's 10,700 men that were flying in any one day. This happened on a daily basis.
It must have been terrifying to look up and see 1,500 contrails that would whiten the sky as we swept in over Germany.
Quem observava esses rastros brancos eram os soldados da artilharia antiaérea e os pilotos de caça alemães, determinados a defender seu país a qualquer custo. Estamos a... Voando milhares de metros acima dos bombardeiros, os caças de escolta iam e voltavam atentos ao inimigo.
If there's one characteristic that you need to be a fighter pilot, it's a neck that turns. If you're up there and flying at, say, 22, 25,000 feet, there's a heck of a lot of sky. And